Hey everyone, welcome back to Puffery. This is episode 9, and just wanted to say a quick thank you to everyone who takes the time to reach out after each episode and give me such great feedback. It really helps us with the following episodes, what you liked, what you didn't like, and it's just really helpful. So I appreciate all of you that watch and then send us and me feedback. Thank you. So today's episode, I took a little pivot from talking about the blends, and I wanted to touch on something that just recently happened, the Met Gala. And I wanted to touch base on this because it got a little nod from Cigar Aficionado that cigars were actually featured at the Met Gala, but I wanted to hit on why I thought this was a big deal for our industry and cigars as a whole when it relates to the consumer and how we are influenced by them. So today's episode is called Tailored Smoke Cigars on the Red Carpet. The Met Gala. What the hell is the Met Gala and why does it matter? Every year on the first Monday in May, a particular kind of spectacle unfolds in New York City. It's not just a party, it's not just a red carpet, it's the Met Gala. It's an annual fundraising benefit for the Costume Institute at the Metropolitan Museum of Art, also known as the Met. At its core, the Met Gala is about fashion as art. Each year, a theme is chosen to guide the accompanying exhibit at the Met and to challenge the attendees to dress in ways that aren't just beautiful, but conceptual. The actual event becomes a living, a breathing extension of the museum itself. So the gowns and the tuxedos become walking art installations, and the celebrities are the canvases for these art pieces. So what makes the Met Gala special isn't just who shows up, but what it actually celebrates. So the point of the whole Met Gala is to show artisanship, creativity, and narrative through clothing. And it's one of the rare moments when tailoring is revered as design, where hand-stitched embroidery gets as much attention as the celebrity wearing it, and where Couture Atelier holds the space next to the camera flash. So it's a pretty incredible event that touches on those that make the pieces, that make us say, wow, that make us think, that say, how the heck did they come up with that? But it's also a massive fundraiser. So in 2023, the event raised almost $22 million for the Costume Institute. But culturally, its impact is huge, is way greater. It sets the tone for how we think about identity, performance, luxury, and legacy. And like I said earlier, Cigar Aficionado did a quick post on this on social media, but I don't think anyone in our industry is really taking the time to dig into the significance of this. And in a world where the two don't typically live together, it became a symbol and presence on the biggest influential stages of the world. Like, big deal. So why does this matter for Puffery? This year's Met Gala theme was super fine, tailored for you. And it invites a deeper conversation and asks, what does custom mean in a world of mass production? How do we express ourselves through the actual craft? And that's where cigars enter the frame. Not as a fashion trend, but as a parallel philosophy. Okay, what I mean by that is just like a bespoke suit. Okay, and that's where bespoke came from, is really from Savile Row, from, if you know the movie The Kingsman or James Bond, for example. Like, Savile Row is one of the most famous streets in London that are most well known for making handmade bespoke men's suits. And so what I mean when I say that the cigar was at the Met Gala not as a fashion trend, but as a parallel philosophy, is that just like the bespoke suit, a cigar is also made by hand. leaf by leaf, rolled by skilled artisans who understand balance, construction, and flavor. And it's a craft that's passed down and learned. It's a story wrapped in tradition. It's a personal ritual, not mass consumption. And that's why I think there was like such a huge significance to see cigars featured at the Met Gala. And this year's theme was all about tailoring and the dandy days. And that opened the door to interpretations of personal legacy, nostalgia, and most strikingly, the power of tailoring. On a carpet designed to celebrate craftsmanship, symbolism, and aesthetic storytelling, something unexpected appeared in the hands of a few celebrities, and that was the cigars. Now, whether you love or hate the personalities that were holding them, what matters was that they were holding them. Handmade, nuanced, tailored, and much like the garments walking beside them. So that's the big deal, is that it doesn't matter who was holding them. It's the fact that they were there at the Met Gala being featured in front of the most influential evenings in the entire realm of influence. So that's what's so cool about this and why I wanted to take time to talk about it. So much like the garments walking beside the cigars, we're not just talking about the cigars. We're talking about where they belong in the world of high culture and fashion and how they just got a red carpet moment of their own. So in spirit of the Met Gala, we ask, if a hand-stitched suit is revered on the red carpet, why not a hand-rolled cigar? Both are worn with pride, both are steeped in heritage, and both are tailored for you. So what's great about this moment is the Met Gala reminds us when luxury is intimate, it becomes a legacy. And a cigar savored in this spirit isn't a vice, but it's a votive offering heritage. Cigars as fashion accessories, historically, were never just smoked. They were worn. So if you think of Clark Gable, Winston Churchill, Eartha Kitt, the cigar wasn't separate from their image. It was integral. It was a part of their image. And in old Hollywood, a cigar could signify sophistication or a certain swagger. In the 1920s, it was certainly a gentleman's punctuation mark and part of their uniform alongside the cufflinks and the cologne. So fast forward to now, there are still definitely editorial spreads from Vogue to GQ still featuring cigars, but not just for aesthetic, for an archetype. They're used to craft a persona. The fashion world understands this, how a cigar adds an air of control, ritual, and rebellion. But why? Why do they do that? What is the whole point? Because cigars, in that sense, speak in semiotics. The semiotics meaning the study of sign and signals and how they're interpreted. So in the case of editorial and fashion editorials, luxury is the kind that they're meaning with that is not the kind on display, but it's the kind of thing you experience. Rebellion is not meant in terms of recklessness, but refusal to rush. And ritual, that's more so an anchor in an otherwise very fast-paced world. But these three things, what the cigars symbolize, again, luxury, not on display, but the kind that you really experience. And rebellion is usually seen as, could be something crazy, reckless, but in this sense, it's super cool. It's like, no, I'm going to tell you the timeline that we're on. So the refusal to rush, and then ritual, because everything is so fast today, and this is something that really does take time. So in essence, a cigar is a wearable philosophy, draped not on the body, but in your hands, your breath, your moment. So the next point is, The cultural tension. Tobacco in a post-smoking era. It's impossible to talk about cigars without acknowledging the elephant in the room, and that is that tobacco has changed meaning. Where it once conjured elegance, it now often brings discomfort. We live in a post-smoking culture, one shaped by decades of public health campaigns and policy shifts and social norms. But cigars are not cigarettes, right? And the distinction matters, not just chemically or behaviorally, but culturally. Cigars are not inhaled in office stairwells or lit in stress between emails and, take 5 minutes and you go back in, right? They're slow, ritualistic, intentional. They're less about the escape and more about engagement with taste, with conversation, with pause. This isn't to romanticize or ignore the health implications, but it's to say that the cultural conversation around cigars deserves more nuance. And when we reduce cigars to tobacco, we miss their anthropology and their craftsmanship and their ceremony. So lastly, the point of this, to tie it all together, a symbol of the tailored life and what does it mean to live a tailored life, not just in fabric or fashion, but in rhythm. Haute couture and hand-rolled cigars share a DNA. They're both. They're slow, made by hand, not by machine, detailed, shaped by years of knowledge, not algorithms. They're personal, not one size fits all, but one size fits you. In a world of speed, both ask us to slow down, to savor, and to live deliberately. A cigar isn't just an object. It's time in physical form. It's like I always say, the only way to capture time is to take a picture because you freeze it in that second. But a cigar is that. It's time in physical form, wrapped in leaf, bound in ritual. You don't multitask while smoking a cigar. You don't scroll, you're present. And that presence, that savoring, that's the tailoring I'm talking about. That's what tailoring really is. And in that way, a cigar isn't just smoked. It's worn, like a moment cut and fitted for you. And that's why I wanted to call more attention to the significance of the Met Gala moments and what it says for our industry, instead of simply brushing over it. So we'll get back to the blends breakdown with the guys on the coming episodes, but just wanted to mention this, and I thought it was really a great, super cool thing for our industry, and to call it out, think a little bit deeper about it, and know that there's so many parallels when it comes to something that is so huge in terms of influence, but that we finally got our nod to that with this experience with the Met Gala. So cool to think about. Check it out if you guys have time. But as always, and until then, may your cigars be smooth, your moments intentional, and your perspective ever fresh.